financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
And welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today I've got with me Pat Simasko from Simasko Law.
Thanks for
Pat's our elder law expert, and he's also a co-sponsor on the show. Pat, good to have you.
Thank you.
And also with me today, as always, almost as always, Brian Small.
Well,
Brian, do you have any words of wisdom for us before we turn this show over to Pat and really cover some material that's worthwhile?
I don't know. I'm interested today to learn how much we can afford to lose.
Yeah.
So far, every time I check my wallet,
Nothing.
the answer's nothing. I'm wondering if there's a different answer today.
Well, there's one time where I can afford to lose. When I go on a vacation, like if I go on a cruise, I take with me a budget to lose in the casino, and I go with the plan on losing that budget. But it's a small budget.
That's different.
So I can afford to lose that.
That's the cost of entertainment.
Yes.
That's not losing. You're
Your
entertained
savings.
even though you're spending it.
Right.
You may not get it back from the casino, but I don't think we're talking about that today. I think we're talking about whether you can afford to lose money that keeps food in your pocket. I mean, food on your table, right?
I want to throw one little finality to that point is even though in the gambling scenario you create a budget to lose, I hate losing.
Oh, every
I do not find it fun to gamble and lose anyway, just for the
Rather
record.
hear the words winner, winner, chicken dinner?
Yeah.
I guess so. Today what we want to talk about with Pat is Medicaid planning and aid and attendance veterans benefits, because this is kind of, we've done these shows a lot together, and we've always covered how much can you afford to lose, and I'm going to call this phase 2 because so often we've also talked about the estate planning issues and Social Security, and every time we get into Social Security, which we'll cover on a show shortly, we spend so much time on it, we always end up shortchanging the Medicaid plan and the veterans benefits.
You can have a number of shows on each topic and just drill down into each segment of it. It's that important. But here's a good idea to just get a big overview about what it is and how it works.
Yeah. So let's set the stage. All right. You're in your mid-70s. One of two scenarios can happen. One is you're in reasonably good health, and you want to plan for the eventuality of saying, well, what if I need to go into the nursing home, and how do I cover the cost of the nursing home and still preserve my assets? Because nursing home care is what, $9,000 to $12,000 a month?
Between $8,000 and $9,000 a month on average right now.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I recently had a client came in, and on private pay, it was like $12,000 a month.
Absolutely.
So the whole point being is if you end up in the nursing home for 2 or 3 years, which is not normal, but it's not controllable.
The average is 32 months in the nursing home.
32 months?
A third of us will be in the nursing home for about 32 months on average.
Okay, that's a big stay. So you multiply that. So one of the three of us.
One of the three.
All right, I choose. You guys can pick between the two of you. I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass on that one. Send me out on the cruise ship for a 14-week cruise, and I don't need to come back.
And that's what everyone says. It doesn't matter. I'm never going to the nursing home. But nursing homes are full of people that are never, ever going to the nursing home.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily even have a say in whether they go or don't go.
My father-in-law had Alzheimer's at 54. My dad had a stroke at 61. My grandma was 98, all three in the nursing home at the same time. You just never know.
Well, I guess then on a probability basis, you're probably the one of the three of us.
I'm planning now.
But so here's the point, is you've got two situations. One is you're reasonably good health and you want to take plans to deal with that issue. And the other one is what you call, I think, crisis planning, where all of a sudden either the husband or the wife, mom or dad, is in frail health and needs to go into the nursing home. And the whole issue is, can you qualify for Medicaid? Because Medicaid will cover the cost of the nursing home. However, you lose all your assets unless you plan.
Correct.
So kind of give us the overview. What can you keep if you apply for Medicaid, you do no planning, what happens to your assets?
Okay,
I think that's the right way to start.
Right. For a single person, they're allowed a house, they're allowed one car, they're allowed a little bit of life insurance, a funeral contract, and a grand total of $2,000. And they look at every type of financial asset that you have: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, IRAs, 401ks, annuities, cash in the bank. They look at everything.
What kind of income can you keep a month?
Well, all of the income goes to the nursing home as a single person, so your Social Security and your pension, you're allowed to keep a whopping $60 to pay for your haircuts.
How do you maintain the house?
That's the thing, is they give you the house, or they allow you to keep the house, but they don't give you any money to pay for the house.
Can you sell the house once you're in a nursing home?
No. If you sell the house, you just converted a countable asset, or excuse me, a non-countable asset house
Then
into
they
a
take the
countable
money.
asset cash.
Yeah, wait, you can sell the house, but then you have to, all the money goes to Medicaid.
let's see if I got this right. Your house is paid in full, but you have to be in a nursing home. Medicaid is paying for it, and you can't sell the house.
Because they'll take the money.
You can't afford to pay the upkeep on the house.
Correct.
How do you pay the property taxes?
Well, that's where the family comes in.
That's a big
and
problem.
See, you have to back up a couple steps. It's easier to protect the house. And we say protect it because Mom, that's her castle. She may come home. She wants to be able to pass the house to the kids. But as Mom's getting older and now she's going into independent living or assisted living, the family says, well, we might as well sell the house to help pay for the assisted living, which is fine, but then all of a sudden she goes in assisted living and now she's in the nursing home.
And that's
she just
countable
took
asset.
all the money and put it back into cash, which is now countable.
So there's also something about the house is you have to keep it out of probate, though, don't you?
Right. See, that's the new Estate Recovery Act. In the good old days, you're allowed to keep the house. You pass away, it goes to the kids or the family, and they don't file a lien on the house. Under the Estate Recovery Act, if the house goes through probate, they don't make you sell the house while you're in the nursing home, but if the house goes through probate, they'll file a lien on the probate estate and get reimbursed for all of the Medicaid funds used to.
So you have to do something to get the house out of probate?
Yes, and trust agreements don't work. The house has to be owned by Mom individually. So how do you keep the house out of probate? Using quick claim deeds if you have the good old days, over 5 years old, or ladybird deeds if she's in a crisis situation.
Ladybird deeds in a crisis. All right, we're coming up to a break, and I think when we come back is, here's what how do you, let's say the family has a couple $100,000. How do you save that money, the wealth, so that it doesn't all go to Medicaid, I guess that's the whole crux of the planning,
That's
right?
why I'm here.
All right, we'll be back after the break.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Fav Gross 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Fav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Fav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Fav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. All right, so we're talking about Medicaid planning. What did you?
Well,
Brian,
Pat,
to break you.
I got to before you get going, Ken. I mean, I'm really disturbed here because basically what you said is,
You're
mom
always
gets
disturbed.
mom gets to keep the house. Now that means that the kids have got to come in and pay for the insurance and the property taxes and the maintenance and the painting, the upkeep of the house. What if they don't want to do it? What if they don't have the money? Where do they get it from?
Right.
Wait, well, here's the whole idea. I mean, the whole idea, let's say mom has $500,000, okay? The idea is, how do we structure this so that we cover the nursing home care and we don't, the $500,000 doesn't become $2,000 for mom and $498,000 for Medicaid.
Right.
So the goal here is to save some of that money. And as I understand it, you can save all of it if you have 5 years to work on it. And if you have less than 5 years, you can save half?
Yeah, that's it.
How does it work?
The whole idea is that the government allows you to do planning. They don't have a problem with planning. So if you know what the rules are, and there's crisis planning, which is moms in the nursing home right now, we can generally protect about 50 to 55% of her assets, including the house. But if we have 5 years, we can protect all of the money. What Brian,
Start with the 5 years. You have the 5 years. How do you protect all the money? What do you do? When someone comes to you, what do you do to accomplish that?
Well, one thing that you can do is start getting stuff out of mom's name. If you get it out of mom's name 5 years before the nursing home, that's what the look-back period
So you
is.
just have to know when you're going in the nursing
Well,
home.
there you go. If you know when you're going in, you can schedule the appointment. But
Right.
if you don't know when you go in, you can always call the office right now and schedule the appointment, or come to one of the seminars.
Is
and
there
talk
an
about
age?
it.
Is there an average age that people should, really look at that on a serious level, or does it depend on family history?
Well, I look at
I mean, when you're 40, you don't need to do this. Do
No,
you?
well, there's. That's
You
an
can't leave it to
interesting
your
que-
kids because they're 12.
Well, that's a sad reality. Is there's a plan. The earlier you start, the better plans with long-term care insurance or retirement planning at an earlier age. Retirement age is when people normally start looking onto the next phase of their life.
So like crossing 60.
There you go, right there. But the point is, we had a case where, so the son was paying for the house and paying for the house while mom was in the nursing home for 3 years, and then all of a sudden she's on her deathbed, and they never had the house taken care of with the Ladybird deed. So they came in on a Thursday. We signed the Ladybird deed at Thursday. She died Friday morning. Had he not signed that, we would have lost the house through the probate, because the house would have went through probate. Thank God they had a power of attorney that allowed the son to do the Ladybird deed, or he would
He
have.
could sign on her
Yeah.
behalf even though she wasn't.
He kept the
capable.
house up for 3 years and then lose it at the night before she passed away. Thank God he saw us and went.
Let me ask you another question that comes up. So we're talking about, we have 5 years to do it, and I'm going to divest my assets out of my
Correct.
name. So that goes to my children.
Well,
how do I?
How do you protect
I love
it?
my children, but
Right.
what if I need that money?
Well-
what do I do?
Well, this is where
I have to trust them?
Well, that's where we try and take as much of the trust out of it as possible. You can put all the money in the 5 kids' name, but the rule is if you have 5 kids, generally one of them's a bad kid. Divorces, bankruptcy, spendthrifts, alcohol, drugs.
So we don't use that
So
kid.
what I use.
Better limit it to just having 4 kids.
Well, maybe. Now
then they're all going to be great.
Perfect.
Right.
What we use are called asset preservation trusts, where you put control over your assets in the good kid's name. One that you trust. You put 2 of them acting together. You want everything to go to all 5 kids, but you have it. So you
I know
have
you
it
told me
watched.
about this thing called a trust protector.
Yeah.
What is a trust protector, as I understand it, it's a provision in the trust that even though you're no longer the trustee of your own trust, because you have to make this an irrevocable trust,
Correct.
You can force a change of trustees.
Yes.
So,
So
like-
that's the first thing that's very important. People always come in and say, well, I have a will that avoids probate. It doesn't. It goes
Right.
to probate. A revocable trust avoids probate, but they think it protects from the nursing home. It doesn't. The irrevocable trusts are the documents, if created properly and funded properly, will protect the assets from the nursing home as long as you do it 5 years before you're in the nursing home.
So the key is the 5 years, and the other thing I think the takeaway from this is it's not simple, it's somewhat complicated. You need an irrevocable trust, you need to protect yourself so that you have reasonable protections that even though you're giving up the power over your money, you have a back-end plan that really still protects the money for yourself so your kids can't steal it
Well,
from you.
that's where you have to sit down with the families and go over all of the family situations and
Be careful.
And the type of assets that you have. And like you say, you have the house, and the house right now is protected if you're in the nursing home with the use of a ladybird deed. But we use it's called an irrevocable homestead preservation trust, because if you're in the nursing home and you're stuck, you can't sell it. Well, now the family's is at that having to come up with the money. So when you have the homestead preservation trust, it allows you to sell the house, protect the money.
And it keeps the money in the trust
Right.
away from
The
the
nursing
nursing
home.
home and Medicaid.
We're about a minute and a half away from going to a break. I want to just try and, so we're inside the 5 years.
Right.
What do we do then? How much can we save? What's the different direction that we make it work in simple terms? First of all, let's say, how much can we save? How much can we protect?
Within the 5 years?
Yeah.
So on a crisis plan, now you're generally we can protect about 50 to 55%. But that we can protect it all in a lot of situations, like the house. So mom has the house and she has $50,000 in the bank and a $50,000 mortgage. Well, she doesn't realize you can take the $50,000 and just pay off the mortgage.
So there are plans that things
You
that
can
do.
pay for a funeral. You can upgrade the house. You can pay off any other debts that you have. We generally don't recommend that. But
So here's what I see is the rule. Just like in the last segment where we were talking about
Don't put your head
foreclosure,
in the
where you
sand.
put your head in the sand, and when it comes to this type of a plan, if you do nothing, you get to keep $2,000.
Right.
If you plan, even in a crisis plan, you can keep half, maybe even more, depending on planning steps. And if you can make the plan 5 years ahead, you can keep it all.
Right.
But the bottom line is you've got to take action to do it.
And you have to talk to the family about that, because everyone that comes in, and we talk about moms, the daughter brings in her mom in, and her husband, the daughter's husband, so my dad has it all covered. He doesn't have it covered.
Right.
He thinks
he has it covered. He probably has a revocable living
That's
trust.
what he has.
That's
Oh,
it.
they're covered. My brother's handling that. And the reality is that 99%
Right.
of the people don't have a clue.
We're coming up to a break. I want to talk about vets when we come
Yes.
back.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Welcome back. Let me do a quick couple announcements, and then I want to come back, Pat, to not Medicaid, but aid and attendance benefits for vets, which is, I think it's a very great program and not well known at all. We have a seminar coming up Wednesday, November 4th, How to Eliminate Debt and Build Savings for Retirement. The whole focus on our financial seminars are on accumulation of money for savings. You would think that it's just a debt seminar, but it's not. Our mantra is you have to take steps in your life so that you are putting money away in savings so that when you get to retirement, when you get to 75 and 80, you're not just living on Social Security. You need to have your house paid for if you can. You need to have some money in the bank and Social Security. Then you're covered. Then you don't become dependent on your children. You don't become a ward of the state. You need to Social Security alone is not going to cut it. So the seminar is Wednesday, November 4th. People get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You sign up at lawandreality.com. It's from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at our offices in Bingham Farms. You can also call to register at 888-235-HELP. Be sure and go to the Law and Reality website. There's free reports, Reg X, How to Save Your Home, The Hidden Secrets, Secrets of Social Security by Pat Samasco. You get those reports for free on the Law and Reality website. Become a fan on Law and Reality. You get our weekly newsletter. Lots of good stuff there. I want to thank Thav Gross as our sponsor and also Samasco Law.
Thank you very much.
Veterans benefits.
Best thing ever.
There's this thing out there that nobody even knows what it is.
Right.
So first of all, what is it?
Well, first it's not shocking that nobody knows because I haven't had one vet get that letter in the mail saying, hey, don't forget to apply for this when you're eligible.
My dad's 91 years old, okay? He's a vet.
Yeah.
He has no idea.
No.
He never heard of this.
What it is, if you're a wartime veteran or the spouse of a wartime veteran, if you need in-home care, assisted living care, or even nursing home care, it provides you a tax-free benefit to help pay for those type of activities of daily living care. So this is a scenario that your dad's in an assisted living, he's paying $3,000 a month, and they're doing his showers, and they're doing his pills, and they're helping getting dressed in the morning.
Okay, that's not a nursing home,
no,
so he's paying for that.
No, we're back at home. Is that dad's at home, and he's having those care companies come in, or the kids are coming in to take care of dad. If he's that wartime veteran, and he's spending his income, so he's making $1,500 a month Social Security, and he's spending $1,600 a month on his care, he's entitled to get that aid and attendant care benefit. So as a married couple, allowed $2,200 a month. As a single vet, $1,780 a month. And a surviving spouse, so dad dies and now mom's at home, $1,150 a month approximately, with those numbers a few bucks off.
With everything that's going on with the vets, with the veterans hospitals and the poor standard of care and everything else, you got to ask yourself a question. Why don't they get the letter? Why on earth doesn't the government send the vets a letter saying, are you aware that you're entitled to these benefits? That's almost, it's almost criminal that they don't do that.
You would think that, because the idea with the Department of Veteran Affairs, it's a patriarchal organization. These are their family. It's the family, and they don't. I equate it to the IRS sending you the letter saying, hey, you forgot this deduction. We forgot that tax break, and they don't do it.
But it's not. The IRS isn't out there looking out for us. The Veterans Administration is supposed to be looking out for the vets.
And they're wonderful.
It's a shame. It's terrible.
Well, the reality to a lot of the veteran service organizations, they don't know what this benefit is either. The VA manual's 10 million pages. This is 100 of those pages, roughly. So the idea.
So how do you become eligible?
I was going to say, this money this is money that gets paid to somebody else, or does it get paid to
Right to
me
Mom.
if I'm the child of a vet?
So this is what happened with my dad. My dad had a stroke at 61, and then he broke his hip literally 15 years later. My brother had to go in and take care of him. And he was taking care of him and getting him dressed in the morning, and it really put my brother back. He couldn't work
Takes
the amount
time.
of hours. So I'm thinking, well, we need to be spending Dad's income on care. We hired my brother to take care of him. And my dad paid my brother. And he
And then he
paid
gets
taxes
reimbursed
on
by
it, and
the-
then he got reimbursed. It was about $1,700 a month.
When you
It-
say 2 daily activities, what kind of what are you
getting
talking about?
dressed,
Help with medications.
help with medication, feeding, cooking, shower assist. So Mom's standing there in the shower and she's going to fall and break her hip. Now she's in the nursing home. So if someone needs to be there to help her get dressed, to help her in the shower, to make sure she doesn't fall, then you're
See, I'm
eligible
thinking the
at
two
that
easy, and I don't say easiest ones, but the two most
In need.
quickest to need
In
would be
need.
shower assist, because so many people when they get elderly in their 90s, how many of them can walk on their own? They're usually canes and
Escorts,
walkers. So
right.
that situation you certainly could use assist
So
in the
this is a-
shower. And medication, I do my dad's meds for him.
This is a scenario. Mom goes to the most beautiful independent living facility. That's not enough. That's just a glorified retirement home. You need to be going to the independent living facility and then hire the additional services that take care of Mom. So it's an aid and attendant care. It's an improved pension that says we're using our income to take care of yourself, to make sure you're in a safe, protected environment.
Let me ask you a big question that people don't realize. What's the look-back rule like in Medicaid?
That's interesting because right now Medicaid has the 5-year look back. Aid and attendant care benefits does I call it a 1-month look back. You can transfer assets out of your name and apply for VA benefits the next month.
Oh, wait,
They're
wait.
looking at
we're
doing
running
a
short of
3-year
time.
look back on that though, and there's real complicated rules
If
on
there's
that.
no look back, the important thing people need to know, because we're winding down, is you don't walk into the Veterans Administration and apply for this without planning. You
No.
need to transfer the assets first. You need to see Pat so that you plan it the correct way. You
Right.
can transfer those assets, then apply,
Right.
but if you go and call up the Veterans Administration, they're not going to tell you to transfer the assets.
No. And if you apply and you have too much assets, you'll be in a bad situation for at least a year or more, because when they already know that you have those assets at that point. And again, those rules are getting very technical, and that you just have to make sure you go to the right person to be able to do that planning for you.
Bottom line is you need to plan on these issues. Medicaid planning, veterans benefits, they are good programs. They're available. This guy and his brother Jim are the guys that know the area. They're the best, and you should contact them.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back next week.